And she's like, nope, I'm manifesting it. It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen. You just got to believe. And I was just like, okay, all right. You know what? You're right. Let's do it. Welcome back to The Legacy Show. I am your host, Nick Sales, and today we're going to be talking about something very interesting, something almost magical, something that I've been obsessing over the past few days and weeks and months, something that I can't seem to stop talking about with my wife. She's probably getting very sick of it by now. But that thing is manifestation. Now, that's a weird word, right? And I'm sure that you've probably heard that before. I'm sure you've probably heard people ask, do you believe in manifestation? Or what is manifestation? Well, I think that's the first question that we should go over, which is, what is manifestation? It seems kind of like this weird, odd, bizarre word. Well, in this specific podcast, I think that I want to use the words manifestation and energy and mindset kind of simultaneously. They're basically the same thing, or I guess they will be in the sense of this podcast. I would also say that manifestation is very similar to karma, which is basically whatever you put into the universe, you will get back. And this is a very interesting concept, and something, like I said before, it's like the closest thing to magic that I've seen, because you're dealing with words like energy and the universe and words that are just kind of odd and bizarre. And I don't know if there's any kind of science that backs this, but it's something that I am really starting to believe in. It's something that I've seen happen multiple times in my life, and it's something that I really believe is true. So what is manifestation? Well, basically, it is whatever you put into the universe, whatever energy you put into the universe, you will get back into your life. Also, whatever you see yourself doing, whatever you believe you can accomplish, you will be able to accomplish. And I know that sounds very third graderish, you know. In elementary school, you would always hear your teacher say, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars, or whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve. You can do anything that you can put your mind to. And I feel like for me personally, as an elementary school kid, I always kind of like brushed that off, and I was always like, yeah, whatever. That's just like motivational mumbo jumbo. But recently, as I've been learning more about energy and manifesting and putting things into the universe, I've started to see some crazy things in my life and in the lives of other people as I've heard their experiences with manifestation. So I'm going to start with this. Manifestation for me is basically saying I will create certain rules for myself. And a lot of these rules kind of revolve around the concept of positivity. I am trying to get rid of all negativity in my life. And the reason for this is that I truly believe that if I put negativity out into the universe, out into the ether, or whatever you want to call it, I believe that I will get negativity back into my life. On the other hand, if I put a lot of positivity out into the universe or the ether or whatever you want to call it, I believe that I'll get a lot of positivity back into my life. Now, because of this, my wife and I, we actually have a rule that we've implemented that says that we will not complain. We do not complain, and we do not talk about negative things. And if we do, there are consequences that we have stated. Now, this is interesting because we have reasons to complain, and there are opportunities to be negative. Negative things happen in our lives, just like everybody else's life, but we are choosing to not be negative. We are choosing to not complain. And the reason for this is because we do not want to put that energy out into the universe. And going kind of along that kind of vein of complaining and negativity, I believe that you could give anybody a microphone and they could complain for hours. And it doesn't matter what situation they're in. They could be a multimillionaire. They could be someone in the hospital. Both people would have plenty to complain about. And to be honest, all of their points would probably be valid. But the question is, even though those points may be valid, even though they have things to complain about, does that make it necessary? My question is, what good comes from that? I think that a lot of times as humans, we have been kind of put in this society where we just kind of see that people complain when things don't go their way. And maybe that's the way that we're taught. Maybe that's the way that we were raised. Maybe that's the way that society has taught us, that just like, yeah, you just, if something goes wrong, you just complain about it and talk negatively about the things that aren't going your way, because honestly, it feels good. It feels good to complain. It feels good to talk negatively. It feels good to be the victim. It feels good to kind of get that attention from other people and to hear people say, yeah, man, that does suck. The question is, though, putting that kind of negativity into the universe, what ends up happening with that? What path does that set your life on? What kind of course does that make you go down in life? I'd like to think of an example of two identical twins. Okay, this is a hypothetical example. Let's take, for example, two identical twins. They are identical in every single way. They are both good-looking people. They're both healthy. They're both strong. But the only difference is that one of the twins decides to be positive. One of the twins decides to be negative. Now, these twins, they move to a brand new place. They don't have any friends. They don't know anybody. They are strangers in this new city. But one of them decides to be positive. One of them decides to be negative. Now, what do you think is going to happen with these two twins after the course of a few days or a few weeks or a few months? I'm assuming that the positive twin will probably make a lot more connections. I'm guessing that the positive twin will probably make a lot more friends. Now, keep in mind, this twin is not any better looking than their twin. They just are more positive. I'm guessing that the negative twin will probably feel a lot more lonely. I'm guessing that they probably will not have as many awesome opportunities. And I think that a big reason for that is because, who wants to spend their time around negative people? But also, I think that there's something more than that. I think that there's something deeper, and that's where this idea of magic comes into play. And the thing is I've thought a lot about this lately. I have tried to analyze and research, and I can't put my finger on it because I don't even know if it's something that's quantifiable. Is that a word? Quantitative? It's something that we could measure. I think that it is something that there's just some kind of energy in the universe, and I don't know how else to explain it other than that. But I do think that positivity, if being a positive person, you will end up getting positivity in return. I don't know how many of you guys have seen the movie Patch Adams. It's one of my favorites. But in that movie, this guy decides to be a doctor, and he sees all of his co-workers and other medical students who do the typical doctor things. They go to school, they learn about the body, they study medicine, yada, yada, yada. They treat their patients, but they're just kind of neutral about the whole thing. They kind of see their patients as just robots. I don't know if they're robots, but they definitely don't see them as the way that Patch Adams sees them. Because in this movie, Patch Adams believes that the biggest cure is laughter and positivity. And this movie is based off a true story. This actually happened. But in the movie, Patch Adams, he sometimes dresses up like a clown. He goes into his patient's room. He makes them laugh. And it is remarkable. It is astounding the kind of results that he has that have nothing to do with science and medical equipment and all of that. Now, this is interesting, right? This is kind of bizarre. I was listening to a podcast once with Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins, he said things that I had a hard time believing at first. But he was basically saying things like, hey, I have seen people who have been cured from sicknesses and illnesses just from their mindset, just from thinking about it, just from believing that they can be healed. Now that's some crazy stuff, right? That is right in the same sphere as magic and voodoo and aliens and all of that crazy stuff. But I think that it's real. And it's very interesting. I think that we have always been taught that the mind is a powerful thing, right? And I think that we know that. I think that we know that the mind is a powerful thing. We know that we can retain lots of memories. We know that we can read lots of books and become really smart. But I don't think that we understand just how powerful the mind is, or more specifically, mindset. I don't think that we understand how powerful mindset is. And I don't think that we understand how powerful a positive mindset is. And going a little bit deeper with that, I don't think we truly understand the miracles or the incredible things that can happen in our life if we decide to just completely get rid of negativity and complaining once and for all. Now, I don't know very many people in my life who live this way, but I do know a few. I know a few people who have decided to get rid of all of negativity. They have even gotten down to the root of getting rid of negative words. So like they refuse to say certain words like bad or hard, things that kind of create this negative sentiment. And they choose to rephrase their words in a way to where they're only saying positive things. These people are freaking successful. They are very happy. They have great families, great marriages, lots and lots of money. And I think that there is some kind of correlation there between their mindset, between their positivity, and their success and the things that they're achieving in life. This is kind of crazy, you know. One of these people that I know, I went to a conference that he was speaking at, and it was one of those conferences where they do, you know, activities and kind of things to help get the point across of what he's trying to teach. And they decided to do a fire walk. And what that is they hired this company who they come in and they burn all of these wood pallets and, you know, create flames that are like 5 feet high. But as the flames die down, eventually it just turns into coals. Fiery hot coals that I think that they said that the temperature of these coals was like over 1,000 degrees or something crazy like that. But once the you know flames die down and the coals are kind of simmering down, he invites you to walk across these hot coals with him. Now that's crazy, right? Walking on fire. You must be thinking like, wow, who would be stupid enough to walk on fire? That sounds absolutely ludicrous. And it kind of is when you think about it. But before we walked across the coals, he said something very important. He said, now the trick, the key to doing this is to tell yourself, it's to tell your brain, to tell your body, I'm going to walk over these coals and I'm not going to get hurt. And my body is going to be perfectly healthy. It's not going to burn my feet. And we repeated that over and over and over again until it was just etched into the fabric of our mind and until we actually believed that that was true. Now, I walked over the coals twice. The first time I did it, I hammered this mindset into my mind, thinking, I'm going to walk across these coals. I'm not going to get burned. My body is going to be perfectly healthy, perfectly safe. And I did, and I walked across the coals, and it did not hurt at all. It was a weird sensation, I will admit, but I didn't get burned. The next time I walked across the coals, I was holding a camera in my hands, and I was trying to film the whole event, and my mindset was more focused on filming than on not getting burned. And what's interesting is having that kind of mindset. As I walked across the coals, I felt a lot more heat the second time around because I was not kind of like conditioning my mind to really believe that. So positivity, okay? That is one way, having the mindset of thinking that your life is going to go a certain way. That is one way to look at manifestation. Another way to look at manifestation is saying the things that you will achieve in life or the things that you can achieve, even if they sound crazy. You know, I have an example of this. My favorite band, they are a band called Mayday Parade. If you've ever listened to their music, it's so good. I listen to them all the time, and I've seen them in concert, I want to say 12 times, which is kind of a lot, but they're amazing. Now, one day I was going to their concert, and I had this dream, right? I had this dream that I wanted to film a video for Mayday Parade. I didn't know them personally. I had never sent messages or texts or emails with them, but I wanted to film a promo video for their concert. I wanted to get backstage. I wanted to film this amazing video. I wanted to send it to them so that they could post it on their social media. It was just kind of this dream that I had. Well, I showed up to the concert, not with a backstage pass, just with a general admission pass. And as I walked into the ticket booth, the lady across the counter, she looked at me and she was like, "Oh, you need a photo pass to get in." And I was like, "Oh, I thought that I was supposed to have one." Just kind of BSing my way through it. And she's like, "Who did you talk to get this photo pass?" And I said some random name. I can't even remember what. I was like, "Oh, I talked to Jason," or some random name like that, just hoping, praying that it was a right name or a name that she would recognize. And she kind of gave me this weird look. And then she went into the back, and she was back there for a few minutes, and I thought, oh no, I'm done. I'm done for. I'm not going to be able to get into film this video. She's going to have to confiscate my camera or tell me to put it in my car. But then she came out with a press pass and she handed it to me. And it was a backstage pass, all access pass. And I was dumbfounded. I was like, oh my goodness. But the crazy thing is that I think that I believed so much that I was going to be able to film a video for Mayday Parade that I did things that I didn't think other people would do to be able to do that. And I honestly think that it comes down to mindset. I believed that I could film a video for them. I believed that my talents were good enough. I believed that I could offer them that video, and it happened. I got into the concert. I went backstage. I ended up hanging out with a band before the concert began. I walked into their trailer with my camera, and they're all like, "Bro, wow, that's a cool looking camera you have there." And I was like, "Thanks." And they're like, "So what are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I thought I would film a promo video for you guys. I was able to get this sweet backstage pass, so I figured in return I could just film this awesome promo video for you guys and send it to you. You could post it on social media and whatever." And they're like, "Dude, that would be awesome." So I did. I filmed the video. I was able to film backstage and get into places that nobody else in the concert was able to get to. I got some really cool shots, edited it together, and I sent them the video, and they ended up posting it on their Instagram, which was just so cool. And it was just like so cool that was a dream that I had, that I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna film a video for my favorite band no matter what it takes. And I think that's the second part of mindset, is saying, you know what, I am going to do this thing. Even though it sounds crazy, even though it doesn't necessarily sound realistic, even though I might be kind of scared to do it, but I'm going to put my mind to it, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this happen. And I think that's the power of mindset. And I think that we do not fully understand what we're capable of. We do not fully understand our potential. And this is something that I think I'm kind of starting to realize now as I'm growing older. And it's funny because my dad, growing up, he would always tell us this story. And some of you have heard this story several times if you've spoken to me, or if you're friends with me, or if you've come to one of my speaking events. But the story goes like this. There was once a farmer who was walking on a path down by his farm one day. And as he was walking on this path, he looked up ahead and he saw a little baby bird. And as he got closer, he realized that it wasn't just any baby bird. He realized that it was a little baby eagle. And the farmer thought, oh my goodness, this is a little baby eagle. What are we going to do? And so he looked around. He didn't see the mom anywhere. And he's like, well, I can't just leave him here. It's a little baby eagle. So he thought about it and he's like, I know what to do. So he decided to pick up the eagle. He brought him into his farm and he's like, well, I don't know how to raise eagles, but I do know how to raise chickens. And so he put the eagle in the chicken coop with all the other chickens. Now, a few months went by, and one day the farmer was out walking by the chicken coop, and the eagle was now fully grown. But craziest thing, the farmer looked in and he saw that the eagle thought that he was a chicken. He walked like the chickens and he ate like the chickens, pecking at the ground. And the farmer thought, oh my goodness, this eagle thinks that he's a chicken. What are we going to do? And so he thought about it and he's like, I have an idea. So he decided to pick up the eagle. He put him in his truck. He drove to a nearby cliff. He got out, took the eagle out, took him to the edge of the cliff, and then just threw him off. The eagle, was probably freaking out a little bit. He was falling towards his imminent death. But out of pure instinct, he kind of ruffled his feathers, spread his wings, and realized that he could fly. And from that day forward, the eagle was always flying up above the other chickens. Now, what is the moral of this story? As my dad always taught me growing up, the moral of this story is that we live in a world full of chickens, metaphorically. We live in a world where people will wake up, they'll eat a lot of junk food, go to work, come home, aimlessly scroll through social media or flip through the channels on their TV, and just kind of wither away as the years go by. And this is something that I saw a lot. I served a mission for my church in Colombia, down in South America. And something that just infuriated me, it frustrated me so much, was that there's just this kind of cultural tradition there where the men of Colombia, I would say the majority of the dads in the streets there, is they will work, 2 or 3 hours a day, and then they'll come home and they'll take their shirt off, sit on their porch, they'll pop open a beer, and they'll just kind of watch people walk by on the street and just sit out on their porch and just kind of spend the rest of the day just on the porch watching people walk by. And the reason why that bugged me so much is because I knew that these men had so much greater of a potential to do good in the world. to be great husbands and fathers, to bless the lives of their wives and their children, to bring good things to their community. I honestly feel like the potential that we have is unimaginable. It's limitless. I believe that we are capable of so many greater things than we can even comprehend. And I think that that's the first step in having a powerful mindset and kind of manifesting these things, is believing it. You first have to believe that you're capable of amazing things. The eagle, who did not realize that he could fly, he didn't fly at first because he didn't believe that he could fly. He believed that he was a chicken. He believed that his destiny was to just be on the ground, pecking away at corn kernels like the other chickens that he saw. When in reality, the farmer knew that his destiny was so much greater than that. He knew that he had a much higher potential than the eagle could have ever imagined. And so in a moment of desperation, I guess the eagle had to believe. He had to believe that he could fly, and so he spread his wings. But from that moment forward, he was always flying up above the other chickens. He never went back. He never went back to being a chicken because he truly understood his potential. He realized that he could fly. And that's the incredible thing. I think that society has kind of taught us to follow a structure. Society says, go to school, go to college, work a 9-to-5 job that you don't like very much. You're going to be frustrated with your boss and your employees. You're just going to kind of be grumpy and mad and frustrated, and you're just going to kind of complain your way through life until you die. And that's what life is. And that just really frustrates me, because I know that we are so much greater than that. And that's, one of the reasons why I started this podcast, The Legacy Show, is because I believe that we have legacies to bring to the world. I believe that there's a lot of good that every single person in this earth can bring. I believe that there's a value that you can bring to the earth that nobody else can bring. There are things that you can do. There are blessings that you can bring to other people that nobody else can bring. And the thing is that I don't even believe that you're just like a good person and that you'll just like live your life doing good things. I believe that you are an incredible person and that you will live the rest of your life doing incredible things. I truly, truly believe that. I believe that our potential is so much greater than what we could ever imagine. So I think that's the first step, is believing, and I think that's really hard for us to do. Maybe just because we have seen, the example of our parents who have lived a certain monotonous lifestyle. Maybe we've seen the example of other friends who just, kind of live this chicken lifestyle. But once you meet someone who has kind of broken outside of the mold of what's expected of them, and once you meet someone who has realized what their potential is, once you meet someone who truly believes what they're capable of, I think that it kind of sparks that desire in yourself, to where you're like, maybe if this person believes that they can do this, maybe I can too. If they're capable of amazing things, maybe I'm capable of amazing things too. And so I just think that, there is so much that we can do that we kind of just shrug off. We say, I don't know if I'm capable of doing that, or I'm just a normal person. I'm just an average, everyday person. It's kind of funny because I remember growing up, I would always ask people the question. I would always say, hey, what's the goal? What's the dream? What do you want to do with your life? And I think probably the most common answer that I got was, I want to travel the world. And I always kind of laughed at that, because I was just like, okay, but like realistically, what do you want to do? Because like in my mind, I thought that in order to travel the world, you either needed to be loaded. You either needed to be super rich, super wealthy, so that you could afford to travel wherever you wanted to, or you had to have a job that would allow you to travel all over the world. Personally, I did not believe that I would be either. I did not believe that I would be super wealthy, and I also did not believe that I would have a job that would allow me to travel. So that was never really my goal growing up. I never really believed that I would be able to travel the world. So whenever people ask me that question, I would never say that. I would never say, I want to travel the world, because I didn't think that it was realistic. It wasn't until years later that I, have the job that I have now, having a video production company, where I realized, holy cow, this is possible. And it's not only possible, but like it is within my realm, my sphere of what I can do. and it's attainable. And like, this is amazing. I can travel and see amazing places and meet new people and experience different cultures. And it just totally opened my eyes to something that I never even thought was a possibility before. And so I think once I started to believe that, that seed kind of started to grow, and I started to realize, hey, I'm capable of more than just traveling. I'm capable of working with amazing people. And so then I started manifesting. I have this kind of funny phrase where assassins, they have a hit list, right? I have a metaphorical hit list of artists and musicians and clients that I want to work with. And it's interesting because, years and years ago, I would have never imagined that I would work with some of the clients that I've been able to work with. People like the Piano Guys, David Archuleta, the Crosbys, massive YouTube channels that like the Piano Guys, for example. When I was on my mission, I used to listen to them and I used to be like, wow, they're amazing. Never in a million years would I have thought that I would make videos for them. But once I started to realize, hey, I make pretty good videos. I think that I could probably make a good enough quality video for some of my dream clients. And I did. And the first step was just believing. The first step was having the mindset of thinking, I am capable of incredible things. I am capable of creating incredible videos. I am capable of creating videos that people will pay me good money to make for them, that can create the kind of videos that they want to make, that can share the messages that they want to share with the world. And it happened, and it's happening every single day. And my mind is constantly blown with the opportunities that I have and the people that I get to work with. And it's not to brag or anything. I just say that to truly, bring the message across that manifestation is real. And so now, currently, I have a list of things that I'm currently manifesting, a current list of bucket list items of things that I want to accomplish, of people that I want to work with. I'd love to share with you a couple of those things on that list, partly to kind of show you what I'm working on, but also partly so that you can keep me accountable. If you ever meet me or anything like that, if we ever have the opportunity to talk, you can say, hey, Nick, how's it going with these things? But the first thing on that list is I would love to shoot a music video for Mayday Parade, for my band, my favorite band. I shot a promo video for one of their concerts, and I thought that was awesome, but I want to take it to the next level. I want to be able to shoot a music video for them. And I know that that's possible. It's hard, and it's been really hard. I've tried to make it happen several times, nothing yet. But hey, I can tell myself I've worked with artists and musicians bigger than them, who have more subscribers than them. I just need to figure out a way to do it. And so I'm thinking right now, how can I make this work? I can reach out to their manager. I can shoot. Right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to shoot other rock music videos for other bands that kind of have a similar style, and then pitch those videos to Mayday Parade saying, hey, I could make a similar video for you guys. But this is something that I'm manifesting into the universe. This is the energy that I'm putting out into the universe saying, this is what I'm going to accomplish. And I will not be satisfied until it happens. Second thing on my list is I would love to put on an event for Save the Kids, which is an organization that I do speaking events for, where I go to high schools and I speak to high school kids and junior high, middle school kids about social media and about likes versus legacy, basically focusing less on how many likes they're trying to get on social media, focusing more on building a legacy and developing their skills and talents and attributes to actually make a difference and do good in the world, instead of just trying to take a perfect selfie every day or focusing on what all their friends are up to, but creating their own legacy, doing things that can bring a lot of goodness to the world. So what I want to do is I would love to put together an event, a big conference, or something like VidCon, where people can come together and just have like a full day event, multiple speakers, where we can talk about how to raise amazing, incredible kids. Because I know what our kids are capable of. I've seen that goodness in them. And I just truly believe that social media is destroying the lives of our kids if we do not teach them how to use it properly. And if we do not monitor them and their use and implement rules and safeguards, because there's some dangerous and scary stuff out there. So that's the second thing that I'm manifesting is, one day, and hopefully soon, maybe this year or next year, I want to put together an event that can help people navigate the world of social media. Another thing that I'm manifesting is I want to publish a book. I'm currently writing a book, but I've never published a book before. I don't know how that process goes. but I'm manifesting it. The book is called Build Your Legacy, which is another, legacy thing. We have the legacy show, the legacy speaker, and now I'm writing a book called Build Your Legacy. And it's just kind of funny that I like that. I like that word, okay? Legacy. You can do a lot of good in the world. And that book is basically just kind of like a personal development book that talks about the things that I believe that we can do to be a good influence, to help others, to be a positive light in the world, and to do things that will really impact the world for the better. So that's something that I'm writing right now, and I'd love to publish that soon. So those are some things that I am currently manifesting and, putting that energy out into the universe. And energy, I want to talk a little bit about energy because that's a weird word. A lot of people say, like I'm sending positive vibes your way, or I'm sending positive thoughts your way, or positive energy your way. What's interesting is that could sound just like a bunch of mumbo jumbo witchcraft, I don't know stuff. But what if it's true, right? What if it's real? What if positive energy, positive vibes, what if those things actually do make an impact? What if those things actually do bring good energy to other people? Yesterday, I went to a BYU football game with my wife and her family. And it was just, it was just kind of funny because I was talking to my wife beforehand about manifestation and just how obsessed I am with that concept right now. And we got to the game. The game was completely sold out. And we ended up getting 2 tickets, but they were far away from each other on different rows. So I end up squeezing in between these 2 very large men. And she goes to her seat and she, kind of squeezes in between 2 people as well. And we're just like, this is not what we signed up for. This is not a great experience, but we can make it great. We can manifest that this will be an amazing game. And so we ended up meeting up in the stadium, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to manifest that we will find great seats. Not only great seats, but that we will find seats that are together so that we can watch this game together. And to be honest with you, I was a little bit skeptical because the game was completely sold out. And I was just like, I don't know how we're going to be able to do this. Like literally every single seat that I see in the whole stadium is taken. And she's like, nope, I'm manifesting it. It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen. You just got to believe. And I was just like, okay, all right, you know what? You're right. Let's do it. So we go searching around the stadium, and after just a few minutes of looking, we end up finding like half a row of seats that is completely empty. And so we end up sitting there, and we ended up inviting her parents there and her brother and her sister to come sit next to us. And it was awesome. It was one of the greatest games ever. BYU just barely ended up winning, which was really cool, because they were like basically tied the whole game. But another kind of funny thing in that is, as I was cheering for my team, as I was cheering for BYU, the people around me, whenever it was like a really intense play where it's like, oh, we need to make a first down, or we need to make this field goal or something like that, people around me, they were manifesting energy in their own way by cheering. They were, ooh, yay, go team, go Cougars, which I believe is putting positive energy out into the universe. But I decided to do something a little bit different, something a little bit nonchalant, something that was probably a little bit weird for the people who were sitting around us. Anytime there was a play that BYU had to make where it was kind of a crucial play, I would just yell out loud and say, I believe in you. I believe that you have come so far. You just need to remember all of the training that you had, everything that has led you to this point. I believe that you are capable of incredible things. I believe that you will be able to do exactly the thing that you need to do to be able to make this play happen. And there's no way the players would have ever heard me. I mean, they're screaming with thousands of fans, tens of thousands of fans in that stadium. Obviously, the players will never hear me. I'm up in the nosebleeds of the bleachers screaming my lungs out. But I don't think that I was shouting those things so that the players could hear me. I think that shouting those things brought an energy into the stadium and hopefully into the players that maybe allowed them to play just a little bit better. And who knows? Maybe this is crazy thinking, right? Maybe this is crazy talk. But it's interesting because almost every time I did that, the play ended up going amazingly. And so I'm not saying that I rigged the game because, that's kind of crazy talk. But I'm just saying there's this concept, right? There's this concept that whatever you put into the universe, incredible things can happen. And I think that kind of goes along the word of affirmations, which is what a lot of really successful people do to get to where they are, to have the kind of success that they have. They have daily affirmations. They will look at themselves in the mirror every day, and they will say things like, I am capable of amazing things. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to be the best blank. I'm going to be the best CEO. I am the best videographer. I am the best author. I'm the best public speaker, whatever. And they tell themselves these things enough to the point where they start to believe it. And I think once they start to believe it, first of all, they start living their life that way. But second of all, I think that there's probably some kind of energy in the universe that helps them in their journey. And that is an incredible concept that I just can't stop thinking about. I wrote down a list of a few examples of some things that maybe you can manifest. One example is you can manifest that you will be a multi-millionaire. And if you tell yourself that enough times to the point where you actually believe it, we're talking, actually believing it. We're talking about not having any doubt, not having any fear. Maybe you're a little bit scared, but you say, you know what? I'm going to be a multimillionaire no matter what, whatever it takes. If you start believing that, then I believe that you will start doing things in your life that can lead you to becoming a multimillionaire. I don't think that the cards will just fall into your hand. I don't think that the dominoes will just fall into place. I don't know if that's the correct saying, but I do believe that once you have a certain mindset, you start doing things that mindset is allowing you to do. Because if you don't believe that you're going to be a multimillionaire, you're probably not going to do things that multimillionaires would do. But in addition to that, I also think that just believing that, manifesting and saying, I will be a multimillionaire, I just really think that manifesting those thoughts and those energies into the universe, I truly believe that, like karma, those things will come back to you. I believe that if you have that mindset, you will probably be given more opportunities to, meet new people or to have business opportunities or to do things that will allow you to be a multimillionaire. And I can't put my finger on it. I don't know why. I don't know the science behind it or if there is even science behind it. That's why I say that this is the closest thing to magic that I've ever seen. But I truly believe that it's true. Another thing that you could manifest is, let's say you're a videographer and you manifest that you will work with your dream clients, like Nike. Let's say one day I will make a video for Nike. I think that if you manifest that, first of all, you'll start to believe that will happen. But, being able to make a video for Nike, I think that will kind of make you realize that you have to be on a different level. You have to be in a different caliber than other videographers. Your videos have to be something different. They have to be special. They have to be high quality, high production. That will probably put you in the mindset of saying, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes to work with Nike. I'm going to develop a better skill set. I'm going to practice more. I'm going to make better videos. I'm going to make spec videos, videos that kind of represent a video, like an example video that I could make for Nike. Maybe I'll just take some friends out, some athletic friends, make a little spec video for free and just kind of practice with those videos and pitch those videos to potential clients or pitch those videos to Nike. And eventually, I truly believe that if you have that mindset, if you put in the work, if you manifest it, I truly believe that can happen. But in addition to that, I also believe that the energy that you put into that, I believe that you will be blessed with some crazy opportunities to be able to achieve that goal. Another manifestation that you could say is you know what? I'm going to manifest that I will be able to run a marathon. And that's a really hard thing. I ran a half marathon with my wife earlier this summer, and it was tough. It was so tricky. I was just so sore that whole day and the next day. So yeah, huge props to anybody who's ever run a marathon or whoever will run a marathon. But I believe that, probably the biggest muscle that you have to work to be able to run a marathon is your brain. Is the brain a muscle? I don't know. Maybe. It could be. We'll just say for the sake of argument that your brain is a muscle, okay? And that's the muscle that you have to work the most when you're running a marathon. It's not your legs, it's your brain, because you have to truly believe that you're capable of it. You have to tell yourself, you know what? I'm going to run a marathon no matter what it takes. And that means I'm going to have to practice maybe more than the average person. I'm going to have to go to the gym. I'm going to have to eat healthy. I'm going to have to drink a lot of water. But eventually, if you truly believe it, you will do the things that will allow you to run a marathon. And in addition to that, I believe that the universe will kind of give you opportunities as well. manifesting, giving that energy into the universe. I believe that you'll get energy back that you put in. So interesting to think about. Another example, that you'll be the CEO of a company with 5 employees. If you manifest that, if you put in the work, if you do what it takes to be able to have that, I truly believe that you can have it. If you believe that you can have it, you can have it. I don't know how many of you guys have seen the TV show Ted Lasso on Apple TV. It's one of my favorite shows. My wife and I love it. But in that movie, Ted writes on this big poster, he writes the word believe, and he hangs it up above his office door. And I think it's like before every game, he goes up and he slaps the poster and he's like, guys, you just got to believe. If you believe, you're capable of amazing things. And I know that sounds so cheesy. That's such an elementary school thing to say. Where we grow up and our elementary school teachers are just believe. And our coaches are like, just believe. And we're like, yo, brother, give me a break. But guys, what if they're right? What if just the power of belief makes it so that you're capable of doing amazing things? I don't know. I think that this is just something really special. Okay, last example is manifesting that you'll be able to break a bad habit. Could be overeating, it could be pornography, could be a plethora of other things. But I believe that manifesting that it makes it so that you're going to be capable of doing that thing. Something that I don't really like the phrase that says once an addict, always an addict. I understand the terminology. I understand what the point that they're trying to make with that. The point that they're trying to make with that is, saying once an addict, always an addict. They're basically saying, hey, well, once you've become addicted to something, you always need to be vigilant, right? You need to always be on guard and aware because you have the tendencies of an addict. So make sure that you never, you can never become too comfortable, right? Because you could always slip back into your old ways. And so I get it. I get that that's what the point that they're trying to get across. The thing that I don't like about that phrase is that it's such a limiting phrase. It limits you from reaching your full potential. Once an addict, always an addict. If you truly believe that you're an addict, I don't think that you can live the kind of lifestyle that you want to live. There's this book that I love. I absolutely love it. It's called Atomic Habits. And that book kind of talks a little bit about this. It talks about how believing that you are a certain way or a certain thing helps you to do that more. So let's say you're trying to stop smoking. In the book, it says, if someone offers you a cigarette, instead of trying to say, oh, I'm trying to quit smoking, instead you should say, oh, no, thanks. I'm not a smoker. Or if you are trying to run a marathon, then you should say, I am a runner. If you play music, then you should say, I am a musician. You are believing that you are that thing. And once you have that belief, it makes it so that you're so much more capable of doing the thing that you want to do. So yeah, once an addict, always an addict. I don't love it. I would say once an addict, but now I'm capable of more than you could ever imagine. I'm capable of amazing things. I'm capable of incredible things beyond comparison. I am completely limitless. Just imagine how your life would go if you woke up every single morning, if you looked at yourself in the mirror and you said, you know what? I am completely limitless. I can do anything that I put my mind to. Imagine the things that you would actually be able to accomplish. And so that, just kind of circling back around to the beginning, that's why I feel like it is so important to get rid of all negativity in your life. Everything. Because it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't serve you at all. It doesn't help you to achieve the things that you want to achieve. It does not help you to build your legacy. The other day I was at the gym and I was running on the treadmill and my left foot was hurting a little bit. And as I was driving back from the gym in the car with my wife, I was just so tempted to say, oh man, my foot is hurting. But then I kind of stopped myself and I was like, why would I say that? Why would I complain and say my foot is hurting? What good will that bring? What good will that do in my life? What positive impact will that have in my life? How will that make my life better? And so I mentioned that to my wife. I was just like, you know what? I just had this urge to tell you and to complain to you that my foot was hurting. But I thought about it more and I was like, what good will that bring me? And we had this really cool conversation where we just kind of realized, even though you could have every opportunity to complain, let's say that you have just the worst luck, nothing is going your way. You have every right to complain. Every complaint that you have would be absolutely valid. But even then, why would you do it? What good will it do you? What good will it bring into your life? How will it benefit you? Personally, I do not think it will do any good. I think that every time you say something negative and every time you complain, it's like pouring poison on yourself. If we're talking about this thought of putting things out into the universe and then getting them back into the universe, if you're saying negativity into the universe, if you are spouting negativity, if you're complaining, I believe that you will get back that negativity in the form of, metaphorical poison, or so to say. And so that's why I say, every time I say something negative, it's almost like pouring poison on myself. It's not doing me any good. It's not bringing me any good. So it's interesting, it's interesting because it's like, well, but it's true. My foot is hurting. It's like, okay, well, even though it's true, it doesn't mean that you have to say it. It's just a very interesting point. Anyways, that's just the concept that I hope that you can really think more about, is the concept of manifesting, of mindset, of karma, of, just whatever you put into the universe, you will get back. Energy, putting energy out into the universe. Whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. But I truly believe that is a true concept. Again, I don't know if it's backed by science, but I don't need to know that because I've seen it work so many times in my life that I know that it's real. So, thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Legacy Show. Can't wait to see you in the next one, and hope you have a great rest of your day.